Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is the last video in the little series I did focusing on Lesley's lovely little pattern here, a little Scrappy Duck. So what did I do for homework? I finished stitching all of his embellishments on. Really happy with the way that came together. And this side, I put a little X here just because, and a little X here. This little feather was hanging out, so I ended up taking it in again to create a secondary fold on the fold, and I put a little X there, a little cross stitch. The button went on, and that's sort of why I did that little X as well, just sort of little embellishments on him. You could really go to town on these little characters. They're just fantastic. So the next stage is his feet, his eye, and I do have another button. I just can't decide if I do something at the top. I like the little thing he's got happening here already, just with the fabric coming up. So I'll leave that for a moment. I want to do his eye next. So the plan is to cut the eye. In Lesley's instructions, she mentions layering different colours to get sort of detail in the eye. So I'm going to cut myself from somewhere here where I can sneak. I've got to cut two. So we'll start with the dark blue. He's going to have dark blue eyes, then some white or cream, and then maybe blue again, maybe black, and then some little highlights, you know, those little glints in the eye. So that's my objective today. And then it really will be having a little look at him to see if there's anything else I want to do, but I just love him. I absolutely love him. The feet are going to be hot glue gunned, using a hot glue gun, glued into position. The only thing is I cannot find my glue gun for the life of me. It was only a cheap little gun that I picked up for a couple bucks from somewhere. I've had it for years. I have a feeling that I took it to work, and of course it wouldn't have withstood daily use, and I have a feeling that it's no longer in existence. Now, work has some heavy duty glue guns, so I won't be gluing the feet on the video today. I'll have to take Mr. Duck here to work and use a bit of glue and finish him off, but I think you got the general gist of how all that works. Lesley does recommend using a little bit of cello tape or sticky tape on the base of the feet. If I remember rightly, bit of cello, and then pop the feet on it so they don't move. So when you put the glue in and around, it sort of holds the feet into position where you want them. So it's pretty straightforward. That's not a very tricky thing to do. So we've got two dark eyes. Oh, aren't you just a handsome fellow. You can really play with eyes. You can take them right up, right down. I like them right on his nose. Where does Lesley put them? Where's the picture? Oh, she's got them up and down, and I sort of like them right down on his nose, but we'll see. Let's just sit them there for now. Sorry, poking him into the eye. Okay, so now we need a creamy fabric. I might do that. I like this colour, and it needs to be a fraction smaller. So what I might do, is I'll cut out two to the size of the template. So that gives me my shape. And then I'll cut them down. You sort of want layers, don't you? Okay, so let's take a little bit off all the way around. There might be a better way of doing this, but this seems logical for me. Okay. The whites of his eyes. There we go. Then I think she recommends doing a darker ring again, which would be the pupil. Yeah. What'd she say? Dark and then slightly smaller, lot of fabric, and then circle of dark, and then add some. So now we need that little pupil. Do we use black? That's sort of classic eye, isn't it? I better just grab my scrap bucket and see if I can find a little bit of black fabric. I don't use a lot of black. But there's probably something close. That's a greeny, marbly sort of colour. I'd be surprised if there's actually black in here. When I sat down to start filming, I sort of felt like it was going to be the blue. But, oh, here we go. A little piece of black cotton. There you go. So, this is just a dot. What about some black buttons? Let's cut out some black circles around the size of that button. And then I sort of like the idea of some buttons, to be honest. They don't have to be realistic ducky eyes, do they? I don't think so. So this is a black circle. Makes him very cartoon-like. And this is where you start adjusting them to one side. Gives you that he's looking sideways, stunned look. That is cute. Probably wouldn't get the expression that I'm getting here if I went to a button. Oh, I do like that. How cute's that? Now, I should probably get some black cotton. Where's my box of cottons? We might start with sewing that inner circle. There's no black in there. Let's do this one. Gee, I'm really prepared today, aren't I? Luckily, everything's at my fingertips, so it's never really a problem. Might use that. It's a pearl cotton. Let's have a play with these little eyes. I might just do a little running stitch. I do like them looking sideways. Maybe we pop them on the duck. Oh, how cute. I think I will stick with the Lesley plan. Oh, look at him. He seriously looks like he's in the headlights. I love it. It's so comical. All right, could probably make a smaller version and they'd be probably a little bit more beady-eyed. But I'm going to stick with this because I actually really like it. It's made me laugh. It's made me smile. That's what you want. So I'm just going to do a little running stitch around that pupil. And that'll secure pretty much everything. Then it's just how much stitching do you do on the eye itself back to the duck. Now the little glint, we could use some fabric and cut just a little triangular wedge. We might play with that. Otherwise we could stitch in a little glint. This is holding all of these pieces together beautifully without doing too much more stitching to the eye component. Yeah, let's put a nice little detail in the center of the eye. So it's just some little stitches. I'll just end that off. Oops, don't be difficult. What has happened? Oh, there's a knot there, which is stopping that from sliding through. Okay. So there's one goofy little ducky eye. Let's pull this one off and stitch in. Really quite simple, which is great. And I'll put the pupil sort of a little bit off-centered. He's bug-eyed enough without, I think, having them in the center of the... So we might as well go for an expression. Could make him cross-eyed too. How fun. Ducks have real beady eyes, so it's certainly not a realistic ducky eye, but it is rather fun. Gee, it's hard to stitch black on black. Just need those few little stitches. So the blue is a feathery detail around the eye. If you're wondering the layers and how it all makes sense, it's like having a little blue crest of feathers around his eye. Beautiful. So that's his little eyes created. That was simple. Oh, come on, don't knot up. It's got a real twisting, tiny little... What's the odds of that? There we go. And now I can get my little knot right there. Just to be fiddly. Okay, so come here, little duck. So they can be quite straight up and down. They could be high. They could be wonky. Oh my goodness. Do I have black pins? Just so that you can't see the pin head. And that allows me to move it around. So they could be quite high. I like them low. I like them nestled right down on his beak. Gives him quite a big forehead. And I really like that. And I sort of like them a little bit cross-eyed, to be honest. Even, yeah. And I like the feathery blue ring to be a little bit. I think what I'll do is I'll do some little invisible stitches through the eye. I don't even think I'm going to stitch this edge down, to be honest. I really like the way that that's protruding from his face. I might change my mind, but at the moment. So we need now a glint. So let's take them back down to our board. And let's have a play with a glint in those little eyes. So we need a pale of fabric. So I've got a little bit of, must be a better scrap. Oh, there's some white cotton. Just only need a little piece. Just a little dot, that's all it really is. Even smaller. Oh, so much fibres kicking around at the moment. Oh, come on. Here we go. Could even be smaller, but if I can get it there. It just sort of brings the little eye to life a little bit. I'm sort of using a bit of a diamond shape, maybe a bit rounded. That one there I might just adjust. I'm really overthinking this probably. Oh goodness, I can't believe I'm spending so much time on the glint of his eyes. There, that's better. It just adds that little bit of character to the eye. Let's dab that in. Now, come here, little ducky. Oh, isn't it amazing how eyes just make things come alive? Just love it. There he is, with the glints in his eye. Oh, okay. Let's tidy up here a little bit. Now, they will just be slip stitched into position. Grab a needle. Now the little glint, I might start there with the glint with a couple stitches. And that'll hold it. Okay, so the glint is now, you probably didn't even see that. I just looked at the camera and realised that I was a little bit out. So what I did is I just came up through the little glint. And now the plan is, because my thread's still in behind there, is just to catch it and do a couple little invisible stitches there, tiny little stitches, just to catch the eye. That's it. I can shoot through to the other side. That's not going to go anywhere. Just come up to the top there. Needle just went up my fingernail. Yay. Yeah, and I'm definitely going to leave the blue fabric not stitched down. There's enough stitches there to hold everything. So with the stitching on of the beak, I didn't end up needing my rounded or curved needle. Just lost my thread. But what I did do is did a lot of straight down and then from underneath straight up. So it sort of caught that and caught him. And that seemed to work really well. And I think I went across 3 times. That way, wherever my fingers and the needle went, if it wasn't as close as the last stitch, I knew I was coming back, you know, with another stitch. So I'm just going to secure off that thread, catch a little stitch in there. It is fiddly, but just take your time. Don't stress. If you're getting stressed and you're wanting to throw your duck across the room, just walk away from him. Leave him a day or so. I know yesterday I was quite wound up. I was filming a lot of videos and I was like, next. And in the end, I ended up putting this little fella down and I came back to him later in the evening and I enjoyed the process a little bit more instead of it being so just get it done onto the next thing. And I know when the hair, Henrik got a bit too much for me, I'd put him down and come back to him a few days later and he just seemed to come together better. Like if patches weren't quite right or I was manhandling him a little bit to try and get, you know, get the elements stitched together, I'd pick him up a couple of days later and he would just move along some more in the process. So don't be afraid to put it down, go do something else. It'll come together. Okay, so we've got our little eye there now into position. Thread coming behind. So I went through the little glint. I'm putting those eyes right down to the nose, to the beak. I'm going to leave my threads, kind of come unthreaded all the time. I think another tip too is use a needle that's quite thin and it just allows you to catch and shimmy through your fabrics easily. If your needle's too thick and bulk, it's just more things to drag through. It just makes it a little bit more uncomfortable, I believe. So I'm just going to come down through there, the bottom. Come on. Come on, down you come. And then I'll finish him off with a little knot over to the side that no one will ever notice. And that's his eyes, ever so carefully stitched. You could easily do eyelashes. That'd be rather cute. Okay, so, oh baby, hello. No, hello. Isn't he just gorgeous? Now, let's have a good look at this top knot. There was a piece of lace kicking around here last night. When I went to bed, I sort of cleared my desk and popped in some morsels that I thought might, I think this is it here. I thought it was a different piece, but it doesn't matter. And I thought maybe of putting a bit of lace on the top of his head. Thought that it would be cute. Could have sworn it was a smaller piece. That must have been it. And then I thought, well, I'll leave the fabrics out because I was going to tidy up the fabrics. Let's just cut, I don't know, a random triangle. And then let's have a play with this little piece of lace. I think this lace is too tall, but I like the idea of it. Is it worth just trimming it down? Get rid of a bit of the bulk. And then I thought maybe we lift the leaves. So if I take that off there, lift the leaves, so we've now got a smaller tuft. It looks like I'm doing feathers on the top of his head. I like the idea of this dark blue. Maybe we can bury the lace in this to a degree. It's just a case of fiddling, like, isn't that half the fun? Fiddling around with your little duck. I sort of don't mind that. Or do I bring that forward, have the blue on the back, and bring all that forward? So it's a bit of a combination. And then can I stitch that to the tuft? Yes, I can. That's it. Now, do I have a needle and thread ready to go because now my fingers are holding it in position? No. Okay. I did have this button too. I thought about popping a button up there. We might do that. What the hang? At what point do you stop fiddling with your duck and call it done? Was there a needle left here in this? No. Okay, so let's get that tuft. Let's get it secure in itself. Move over, little ducky friend. What about the button on the other side? We could do that. They'd give it a bit of a feature that side, wouldn't it? It would look like the button is actually holding the tuft together. I like that. So just a couple well placed little stitches. Okay, now if that button was there, so we're there already on the right side, so let's stitch the button in. Okay, rather cute little tuft, lace, fabric and button. All right, little man, we're going to come back through that side and we're going to stitch it. Oh, how adorable. We're going to stitch it through. Gee, I wish I had a glue gun here to just finish my little fellow off, but I don't. So I'm now just stitching down through the head a little just to really secure that. You know what it is when people go, oh, look at your duck, and they pick him up and the first thing they play with is his top knot. That'll be nice and secure now so they can fiddle around there and it's not going to come off. He's such a funny little duck. I could just see a children's book. There you go, Lesley. Your characters need to be a children's book. Scrappy Duck, Scrappy Hare, Scrappy Cat, Scrappy Dog. Imagine the adventures they would get up to. Could be the next Harry Potter. Hey, Lesley, you could be the next J.K. Rowling. She's probably talking to the screen now saying, oh, I could not be bothered. That just sounds like a whole lot of hassle. I reckon it would be too. I don't think I'd like it. Could you imagine? There we go. A pin just went flying onto the floor and my floor is carpet. It's never a good thing. Can't see it. I have to send up an alert so that when I hop up from this chair, I don't go and jab myself. Now, the other thing that I thought ducks had little nostril things at the top of their beaks. See that there? I'm just putting some pins in. That would be a nice little detail. I wonder if I can do a French knot. Degree of difficulty high. Might look a bit funny. Maybe I could do, let's give it a go. We've got to get the thread in behind the fabric. That's the first challenge. So I've picked a big needle. We've got to get it in and then back out. I don't know. This might be, no, I don't think I can do it. Yeah. What's going to happen is I'm going to reef it and it's going to pull at my stitching of the nostrils. So we're just not going to go there. Maybe if I do a little knot and then we trim it so it looks like he's got little, oh, there we go. Oh, hello. I like that. That's better. That's safer. So he's got some little whiskery. Just gives a little detail. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just feel like the ducks have got something up there on the tops of their beaks. So we'll give him a couple little knots. I'm sure there's a nostrils up there. Might be wrong. I haven't looked at a duck for years. Okay. What else do we need to do? I think that might be it, you know. Hello. I love him. I love him. So with his little feet, I'll probably splay them out a little bit. You want to see them. So just fiddle around with it, and when you're happy with what you're seeing underneath the duck, you don't want him toppling over either, so you sort of need a reasonable base. And then glue them on. You could probably even stitch them on, but I doubt that'd be tricky because there's really not a lot of give in that. So it'd be quite difficult to get a needle through, and you may weaken the fabric. So I think Leslie's suggestion of hot glue is, yeah, that's the way to go. Yeah, I might have them so they come out a little bit from him. Just looking at my TV screen where my iPad projects to, and that looks good. I'm really seeing his feet too. It's sort of providing a bit of a stable base for him. So then in would go, you know, the other thing I thought of too when I was stitching him is the top of his head. I thought was a good spot for my needles, like my go-to favourites, and that way they're away from the pins. Where's Reginald? There's Reginald. And easy to grab. That's another favourite. And there was a chenille needle that I always use. I'd say milliner's needle. And there's the chenille. Is that the chenille? The chenilles have big eyes. They're great for ribbon embroidery. There he is. He's not a very long needle. I need to get some longer ones because this is the shortest in the pack. But it's great for when I want to use a thick thread. Yeah, so there's the needles are in the top, so they're separate. And then across his back will just be some nice blue pins. Oh, I love it. I love it. My husband was looking at him and he said he needed a satchel or a saddle, and he said then you could sit your, you know, thimble on. And I said, oh, I'd probably be able to just maybe use a thick-headed pin. I might put a pin there, and then my thimble could sit on there. That's not going to go anywhere. And at the end of the day, it's just sitting on my desk. It's not like it's travelling. Oh, I love him. Thank you, Lesley. Once again, fantastic pattern. So much fun. And my little duck is useful. He's got my thimble. He's got my needles. And his back's got some pins in it ready to go. Oh, love him. Look at that face. Oh, little Scrappy. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Lesley, for fantastic pattern. For those of you who've been out there watching, head over to the Facebook site, reach out to Lesley. You can even go to her Etsy store, send her a message, and she will send you an email link to get the pattern. Love it. Just tidying up all my bits and pieces. The pattern is really good. I'll probably head to, hop out of the way, little duck, back it up. I'll probably head to the local Officeworks and I'll get the pattern bound now. So then it'll be forever nice and neat and safe in my files. So there you go. Beautiful. Come back here, little ducky. All right, guys. You guys look after yourselves. Love to hear how you're going with your duck. Tell me what colour scheme you did on your little duck. Oh, I love him. Oh, goodness. Brings the child out in you, doesn't it? And he's useful. Yay. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a lovely day. Bye.